Russia announced on Saturday it will immediately suspend its implementation of a UN-brokered grain deal that has seen more than 9 million tons of grain exported from Ukraine during the war and has brought down soaring global food prices. The Russian Defense Ministry cited an alleged Ukrainian drone attack Saturday against Russia's Black Sea Fleet ships moored off the coast of occupied Crimea as the reason for the move. Ukraine has denied the attack, saying that the Russians mishandled their own weapons. Read more. At least 146 killed during incident at Halloween festivities in Seoul. The Russian declaration came one day after UN Chief Antonio Guterres urged Russia and Ukraine to renew the grain export deal, which was scheduled to expire on November 19. Guterres also urged other countries, mainly in the West, to expedite the removal of obstacles blocking Russian grain and fertilizer exports. The UN chief said the grain deal, brokered by the United Nations and Turkey in July, helps to cushion the suffering that this global cost of living crisis is inflicting on billions of people, his spokesman said. UN officials were in touch with Russian authorities over the announced suspension. It is vital that all parties refrain from any action that would imperil the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which is a critical humanitarian effort that is clearly having a positive impact on access to food for millions of people, said the UN spokesman, Stefan Dujarric. Read more. Southeast Australia set to be hit by snowfall during unseasonable spring cold snap. Russia's foreign ministry on Saturday accused British specialists of being involved in the alleged attack by drones on Russian ships in Crimea. Britain's defense ministry had no immediate comment on the claim. In connection with the actions of Ukrainian armed forces, led by British specialists, directed, among other things, against Russian ships that ensure the functioning of the humanitarian corridor in question, which cannot be qualified otherwise than as a terrorist attack, the Russian statement said. The Russian side cannot guarantee the safety of civilian dry cargo ships participating in the Black Sea Initiative, and suspends its implementation from today for an indefinite period. Ukraine's Ministry of Infrastructure said that Ukraine has never threatened the Black Sea grain corridor, which is exclusively humanitarian in nature, and would continue to try to keep shipments going. Read more. Can an election cure Victoria's health system? It said since the first ship left the port of Odessa on August 1, more than 9 million tons of food have been exported, including more than 5 million tons to African and Asian countries. As part of the UN World Food Programme, it said, 190,000 tons of wheat have been sent to countries where there is hunger. Ukraine's foreign minister, Dmytro Kuleba, accused Russia of playing hunger games by imperiling global food shipments. We warned about Russia's plans to destroy the grain agreement. Now, under false pretenses, Moscow is blocking the grain corridor that ensures food security for millions of people, he tweeted Saturday. The head of the Ukrainian presidential office, Andriy Yermak, denounced the suspension as part of Russia's primitive blackmail. Turkish officials said they haven't received any official notice yet of the deal's suspension. Russia also requested a meeting of the UN Security Council for Monday because of the alleged attack on the Black Sea Fleet and the security of the grain corridor, said Dmitry Polyansky, Russia's first deputy representative to the UN. It would be the fourth UN Security Council meeting on Ukraine-related issues that Russia has called since Tuesday. Read more. New 3D pedestrian crossing trial to begin in Sydney. Russia's agriculture minister said Moscow stands ready to fully replace Ukrainian grain and deliver supplies at affordable prices to all interested countries. In remarks carried by the state Rossiya 24 TV channel, Dmitry Patrushev said Moscow was prepared to supply up to 500,000 tons of grain to the poorest countries free of charge in the next 4 months, with the help of Turkey. Earlier on Saturday, Ukraine and Russia offered differing versions of the Crimea drone attack in which at least one Russian ship suffered damage in Sevastopol, the port on the Ukrainian peninsula annexed by Moscow in 2014. The Russian Defense Ministry said a minesweeper had minor damage during an alleged pre-dawn Ukrainian attack on Navy and civilian vessels docked in Sevastopol, which hosts the headquarters of Russia's Black Sea Fleet. The ministry claimed Russian forces had repelled 16 attacking drones. The governor of the Sevastopol region, Mikhail Razbazhayev, claimed the port saw a massive attack by air and sea drones. He provided no evidence, saying all video from the area would be seized for security reasons. Read more. Sydney woman allegedly caught drink driving twice in 7 hours, but an advisor to Ukraine's Interior Ministry claimed that careless handling of explosives had caused blasts on 4 warships in Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Anton Gerashenko wrote on Telegram that the vessels included a frigate, a landing ship and a ship that carried cruise missiles used in a deadly July attack on a western Ukrainian city. In other developments on Saturday, Russian troops moved large numbers of sick and wounded comrades from hospitals in Ukraine's southern Kherson region and stripped the facilities of medical equipment, Ukrainian officials said as their forces fought to retake the province. Kremlin-installed authorities in the mostly Russian-occupied region have urged civilians to leave the city of Kherson, the region's capital, and reportedly joined the tens of thousands who fled to other Russia-held areas. The so-called evacuation of invaders from the temporarily occupied territory of the Kherson region, including from medical institutions, continues, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Russians were dismantling the entire health care system in Kherson and other occupied areas. The occupiers have decided to close medical institutions in the cities, take away equipment, ambulances. Just everything, Zelensky said. Kherson is one of 4 regions in Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin illegally annexed last month and where he subsequently declared martial law. The others are Donetsk, Luhansk and Zaporizhia. As Kyiv's forces sought gains in the south, Russia kept up its shelling and missile attacks in the country's east. 3 more civilians died and 8 more were wounded in the Donetsk region, a frontline hotspot as Russian soldiers try to capture the city of Bakhmut, an important target in Russia's stalled eastern offensive. Russian shelling also hit an industrial building in Ukraine's southern Zaporizhia region. Around a quarter of the region, including its capital, remains under Ukrainian control. In the latest prisoner exchange, 50 Ukrainian soldiers, including 2 former defenders of the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol, and 2 civilians were released Saturday as part of a swap with Russia, according to Yermak. Russia